Hi, it's Stacey Berger here with Mastering Your Mindset. As a life and business coach, I am passionate about you living a life you love. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Colette Benoit from the Frontline Resiliency Project. She has such a powerful story about going from condition-based thinking to vision-based thinking and how that's impacted your life in the last year. So welcome, Colette.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So when I first met you, you had an old dream about what you wanted to do with your life.
Yes. Since I was a kid, wanted to be a police officer, and that was my dream. But I was diagnosed with lupus when I was 15. So I was stubborn at the start and thought I could still do it. And as I got older and I met my husband, Gary, and saw the lifestyle of a first responder, I realized that because of my lupus, I probably wouldn't be able to do that sort of job.
So tell us a little bit about lupus and why that didn't feel like a match.
Yeah, so it's an autoimmune disease, and it affects everybody differently. So for me, it's extreme fatigue, sore muscles and joints. Stress is a huge factor. So the more stress I have, the worse I feel. And so I saw the shift work, and I saw the lack of sleep and court time and the stress that they see and deal with on a daily basis. And just assumed that wasn't going to work out with it. So
yeah, which I think many people can relate to that. They have an idea, they have a vision, and there's a certain condition or circumstance in their life, and that feels unattainable and unreachable. And that's
Yes.
where you were.
Yes.
And for you, for a long time, there was a pattern of going and doing something and then getting sick.
Anytime I would try and work out, I would get sick. Anytime I would just lack a little bit of sleep, I would end up getting sick. But my pattern was, as soon as I started to feel like I was coming down with something, my response was, well, I'm going to get sick again because I have lupus. I just kept saying that over and over in my head, and I always ended up sick. So it was probably monthly that I was either had a strep throat or a sinus infection, and so I was constantly on antibiotics and just feeling like garbage.
And how long was that going on for?
Years and years. Yes.
Yeah. So fast forward, you and I met each other 2 years?
Year and a half ago.
Yes.
Yes.
ago. So I had the honor of mentoring Colette and part of a business mentorship program that I volunteer for.
Yes.
And Colette was scared of me in the beginning.
I was very scared.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, so just with working with you, I started to reframe my thoughts and my thought pattern, but also what I was telling myself on a daily basis. So instead of, when I started to feel like I was coming down with something, instead of saying I was going to get sick, I would change that thought to I was healthy and I was fit and I was strong. And over the last year, it's awesome to say I've only had strep throat once. I've only been on antibiotics once.
So imagine that, being sick on a monthly basis where it's just part of the rhythm and part of the routine, and that's what we expect. And just by changing your thinking, our thoughts are so powerful. Now, once in the last 12 months.
Yes.
Yeah. So the other thing that happened is you had a career that you thought, this is something I would love to do, and you started to, well, what if I could?
Yes.
What if I could? So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
So I started applying to some jobs in the criminology field, and one of them I got a call back from, and started the process, the interview, and was moving on to the next stage and the next stage. And I remember sitting in the parking lot at Costco having a conversation with you, and it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks that I was backing off from it. I didn't want to continue with the process, but that was because I didn't want to do it. It wasn't because I couldn't do it because of my lupus. It was because I was choosing not to. It wasn't my passion.
So what you thought was your dream and something I can never do, because when you gave yourself permission to pursue it and then realize, wait a second, this isn't my dream anymore.
Yes.
And I have a choice that if I really wanted to, I could do it, but I don't want to pursue something else.
Yes.
And how empowering is that when our conditions no longer have that control over us?
Yes.
So instead, you started to pursue another incredible path.
So the Frontline Resiliency Project, my husband and I launched last year, and it's working with first responders and their families and friends and anyone who's impacted by first responders, and just helping them reduce stress in their lives and maintain a healthier, balanced life, so that when they do, and it's not if, it's when, usually in that line of work, that they encounter something very stressful, that they have a better foundation at home and with their family and friends, that they're better able to cope with those things.
Why was working specifically with first responders important to you?
My husband Gary has been a police officer here in Edmonton for the past 20 years. Him and I have been together for almost 16, and so we've been through a lot and seen the trials and tribulations that encounter on a daily basis. In the first responder community, the stats are quite high for divorce. There's a lot of divorce, a lot of financial struggles, a lot of PTSD, depression, anxiety. All of that stems from what they see and encounter on a daily basis. Yeah.
So tools that you and Gary have applied in your life.
Yes.
That have helped you maintain a strong marriage,
Yes.
strong, healthy lifestyle in the midst of having a lot of stress
Yes.
that the job can bring, the shift work, the impact, and now working. I love that. So you have an important event that you've launched coming up this fall.
The Frontline Resiliency Project launched Everyday Heroes, a night of celebration. It's on October 5th at the Shaw Conference Center. And we are bringing in a guest speaker from Utah. His name is the Iron Cowboy, or James Lawrence. And he is a speaker on mental resiliency, ultimately, and how you can redefine the impossible. So yeah, he did 50 Ironmans in 50 days in 50 states.
That's mental resiliency.
Yes, and that our minds are more powerful than we give them credit.
And so there's also, so the speaker is part of it.
Yes.
And there's an awards portion.
Yes. So it is a night of celebrating first responders and the everyday things they do in our community. So there will be 5 awards presented that evening to first responders.
Well, what a way to honor those people in our lives that have that impact. So if somebody wants to nominate a first responder, or if they would like tickets to the event, where would they go?
They can visit our website at www.benoitwellnessconsulting.com and just click on the events tab, and all the information is there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Colette, what would you say to anyone who is feeling like their dream is impossible or there's no way? What would you share with them?
That if you want it bad enough, there's always a way, first of all, and that just the importance of how strong our mind is.
Thank you, Colette, for being here. If you have somebody you would love to nominate or to support this powerful event to celebrate our first responders and to learn some tools for your own mental resiliency, make sure you check out Colette and Gary's website. Would love to see you at that event. I know Jeff and I will be there, and we're looking forward to it. And again, just remember the power of your thoughts and living from a vision-based thinking versus condition-based thinking. Here is to your success.